I am really excited to interrupt this broadcast to bring you the Speaker of the Missouri House of Representatives. Please join me in welcoming Speaker Tim Jones.
The Missouri General Assembly is united with you in standing for life at all times. We are down to one abortion facility in this state when we have hundreds of pregnancy resource centers all across our country. And that is because we have the ability to look into the womb. With 4D ultrasounds, we can see the life forming. We can hear the fetal heartbeats.
Friends, God is kind of in the business of doing miracles. And He can make a state abortion-free, and I believe Missouri could be the first one. And what I think is going to happen is it's going to create a ripple effect. So it's going to start here in Missouri, and it's going to spread out. And soon, we're going to have a whole country that has no abortion clinics left. Not just because we made abortion illegal, but because we made abortion unthinkable.
Okay, I'm gonna get ready. Let me see. No poop. Good job, Red Man. All right, so come on. Come on, Sookie. Red Man, get out of there. Out. Fatty, come on. Come on. Go on, Gia.
I got pregnant, and I cannot put my family through another kid right now. I'm a 30-year-old single mom already. I've got an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old. I split custody with their dad. But when I don't have my kids, I work about 70 to 90 hours a week. There's no way I can physically carry a baby and work. And there's no way I can cut my hours because I need my hours to raise my own kids that I have right now. So I can't have a baby right now.
The other guards are scared to talk to the people, you know, and tell them what the rules are. I'm not, because I still have to let you in, so you're either gonna listen to me or you're gonna stand outside. And they call me Chi-Chi. Because they're the dogs that's the tiniest one and aggressive ones that still attack you. Chihuahuas. That's, yeah. Okay, say I'm little and feisty, so yeah. So today I have 36 patients and 10 checkups. Out of the 36, 19 is gonna come. I never get a whole checklist, never.
Why do you think they don't show up?
It's already a secretive thing. They already hiding their face and hiding their identity, so no. Protesters, they love it. They just really be yelling out, so I try to have my car here and have my blanket up so I can cover their faces. Because they love it when something negative happens.
Good morning. Oh, Clinic for Women. This is Danielle. Can I help you? Good. How are you? Okay. Do you know the first day of her last period? Not sure. That's okay, honey. I know, honey. Yeah. Right. Absolutely. No. You know, our God's a forgiving God. Yeah. Right. You know, and she don't need anyone like that in her life that's gonna do that to her, so. Yeah.
They're being delivered to death against their will. And you people that are death scorts have blood on your hands, and every one of you will give an account to Almighty God on the day of your judgment. When man says that he gives hope,
Good morning. We're with the clinic escorts, so whenever you want to walk in, we'll walk you in. It's fine. You know, we're just here to to escort you so that you're not harassed by them.
there's depression in the clinic.
All right.
Hello?
Hi.
Hey, so it's time for you to go out to the bus, okay?
Okay.
All right. I love you. Have a good day.
I will.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
People don't really think about needing to come see me. But when something happens and they have to, I'm really lucky to be able to provide that to them. And I hate that they have to travel so far to see me. And that's when it seems like a lot of them are like, I can't believe that this exists, and I can't believe I had to travel from Wyoming, and you know, and I don't know, it's frustrating. It's hard to be angry about it because you can't walk around angry and do your job.
So we are about 15 minutes from downtown St. Louis, and our abortion restrictions in Illinois, we have very few as compared to Missouri, where there are a lot more restrictions. I worked at Planned Parenthood in Chicago for several years, and it was never targeted for any sort of harassment or protesters or anything. And I came down to the St. Louis area and was here, I think, about 6 months before protesters showed up at my house and, you know, picketed our neighborhood and flyered the neighborhood and really identified me as an abortion provider, where I just consider myself a gynecologist. So I think it's really sad that you have to kind of segregate yourself from what people think of as normal medical care.
pro-life just kept tugging on my heart. You know, Planned Parenthood, you know, came into my mind, and do they do abortions here in Columbia? And so I asked my husband, and he said, yeah, that they did. And so one Sunday afternoon, we're out driving around, and I said, hey, can you take me by and see that place? So we went by, and we just got out, and we parked, and just looked at that building. And I look at that Planned Parenthood, and it's P-L-A-N-N-E-D. And my middle name is Ann, and I keep seeing Ann right in the middle of Planned. It's like, okay, Lord, are you telling me that I need to get into the middle of this? You know? Yeah, they'll need tablecloths anyway, so it's fine. Well, that's 142 people.
We won't have that much food.
What?
We won't have that much food.
God will provide. He always does. Mike and I actually met him online. Catholic People Meet. I started asking God, is this all you want me to do? Because I wasn't doing anything. I was just kind of like, enjoying not having to do anything after working so hard so many years. But I still felt like I needed to do something.
What are you willing to live for? What are you willing to give your life for? For each and every one of you who are so faithful, who keep coming out in the rain, the snow, the heat, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Let's just have a little cheer right now. All in Christ! All in Christ! All in Christ!
Did you have any questions about what's going to happen today?
I don't think so.
Nothing.
I'm just ready to
go
roll.
home. How long is your drive home?
About 2 hours and 15 minutes, 30 minutes, something right
pretty
there.
far.
Yeah, decent. I have an 8-month-old at home. Beautiful baby girl. Best thing that's ever happened to me. Just honestly, right now in the point of my life, me and my partner we are having problems. That's one factor that goes into it. Financially, I'm not financially set to have a child, and of course I know adoption is there, but I feel like that would be 1,000 times harder to deal with. I personally never wanted kids, and I had her, you know. I was like, okay, you know, this is happening, we're gonna go through this. And I mean, I really didn't expect to become pregnant this early, like that, this quickly, you know. I was on the pill and everything. It happened anyway. And, you know, so both times around it's very scary. And when I found out this time, you know, I almost had like a drowning feeling, like a sinking feeling, like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know how I'm gonna deal with this. I can't deal with it. I have anxiety as it is. I mean, even talking right now, inside I feel like I'm shaking like a leaf. It's a hard subject to come out and be like, this is the choice that I want to make, because there is such a stigma to it. I understand why you guys are making the documentary. That's what's going to help keep these places alive, and also dealing with all that outside definitely helps fuel it even more, as why I want to get my voice heard.
Republican lawmakers in Missouri have just enacted a 72-hour waiting period for women seeking abortions, making the state one of the most restrictive in the country.
When you're deciding whether or not to bring a child into this world, Waiting 3 days is not too much of a burden to ask when you're making such a life-changing decision as that.
The bill, which goes into effect next month, triples Missouri's current waiting period of 24 hours and makes no exceptions for cases of rape or incest. Only North Dakota and Utah have similar laws.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Dear Mommy, Daddy, please spare my life. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Get up, your ears and children. Right here.
What are the circumstances of you being here today?
Well, I attended my 12th week, and it was the first look. Everything up until then was perfect, and we found out that the baby has amniotic band syndrome. There are limbs missing, and the skull did not form. If I was to give birth, the baby would not survive. The hospital I did go to, abortion was not an option. And in Missouri, it was 72 hours just to file out a form. And then they would call you back, and then they would schedule you a time frame from a week from after that, 2 weeks after that. Thursday was the longest day of my life, finding that out. I think I sat in my car for 2 or 3 hours. I didn't even know where I was, and I just sat there in the parking lot. And 3 hours usually flies by for me. 3 hours felt like an eternity. And to have that weigh on you, minute after minute, knowing that what you're doing, you have to wait that long to go through with your decision. And due to my circumstances, knowing that the baby's not going to survive at all, it's just heartbreaking.
When I start their girls' IVs, I like to kind of talk to them, and because some of them are so nervous, you know, and far be it from me to talk. You know, I'm a talker. I came from a long line of talkers. Big Italian family, you know, we're all trying to talk at one time. And I hear some of these young girls say, you know, if my mom or somebody knew that I was pregnant, they'd kick me out of the house. Well, isn't that when you need your family the most? I think so. I mean, families gotta stick together. I go through a lot of heck with my family sometimes, but you know, I still love them.
Thank you so much for holding. How can I help you? Okay, well, she would have two options. Between 6 and 9 weeks, she could do the abortion pill, or she could do the surgical procedure, and that's between 6 and 11 weeks. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. 17-year-old daughter, Sherry has one baby. She's in school. He's the only one working in the house, and apparently there's other children in the house as well, and it's just too much for all of them right now, so. If this wasn't here, then I would have made the call to Casey, and they would have gotten me in whenever they got me in. So that's what, 400 miles driven right there.
Good. in. Give yourself a chance to get to know your child.
Why should I be ashamed? I was born a woman. That comes with certain risks. It doesn't make me a whore that I had sex. I'm sorry. I'm not a whore. We all have our same needs, our same wants, our same desires, our same, you know. I really would like to reach out to other women in my situation. Because it's not fair for them to have to deal with shit like that. Yeah, here.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm probably just gonna go get a new IUD next year. The last time that I checked, it was $800. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm a single mom. I can't afford that.
What do you make an hour?
As a server, $367. As a bartender, I think $615. I live mostly on tips. And it's all well and good to tell me to go out and get a different job, but the fact is I actually make more doing what I do than a lot of college-educated people I know. And I am college-educated, by the way.
Can I see Amy G? Amy, I'll take your pin for you, my bad. All right, so altogether it's going to be $525.
So today, Dr. Shaw is going to give you the Mifeprex tablet, and it's going to loosen the pregnancy from the walls of your uterus. Okay. And some people have a little bit of cramping and bleeding today, but not very frequently. If it does happen, just make sure you're wearing a pad, just in case, and just follow the same protocol that you and I are going to chat about. Okay. All right. Do you already have your follow-up appointment set, or do you need to set that on the way out?
I don't. I need to set it.
All right, so maybe stopping by the front desk on the way out. Now, if anything goes haywire, I'm actually the nurse on call, okay? So I'll know what's going on with you. This is all I do. All right?
Yep. All right.
Anything you want to say?
I don't know what to say. I guess you could ask me in 3 weeks. I'll be okay. I'm just gonna go home and hug my kiddos and, you know, take it easy. I mean, I'm not just doing this for me.
We've had an uptick in patients, especially since the Missouri law passed. As it is right now, it's very, very common that I have women who've driven, 4 or 6 hours to come see me, and then to force them to have a 3-day wait. In addition to that, that's a huge burden, especially if you're a working woman, you have kids, you're trying to keep a job down, and then you have almost a solid day's drive on either end of that.
Think you're in control. Don't know that the devil has a grip hold on your mind. He has deceived you. He has blinded your eyes, Aswt, so that you cannot see. He has deafened you with his lies, so you cannot hear the truth. Here is wisdom. Let him that understand and count the number of the beast, for it's the number of man, and his number is 666, or 666. God wants to have fellowship with you. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, Jesus, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish. Dear heart, you don't have to perish today. Just invite him in. She can have everlasting life. If Norma McCormick can get saved, you can get saved. If Dr. Nathanson can get saved, you can get saved. We're praying for you. God bless. We don't want to see you lost. Crying out for you. We pray for you. We pray for all you escorts.
I have had personal experience with abortion. I had an abortion when I was 19, and I had just started college. I was not ready to become a parent. I knew it very clearly, and it was a decision that was not without hesitation. I did think about it, but ultimately I made the decision that I thought was right. I was able to finish my education and go on from there, and later on have 2 children. Wonderful children, and I think that if I had not made that decision back then in 1974, I would not be where I am today. I probably would not have finished college. Who knows?
I got pregnant probably in April. We got married in February. At the time, we were really, really poor. Like, he was making, whatever, $20,000 as an Army soldier. And I'm, making pennies, slinging plates at this little restaurant in River Market. And my husband was very verbally and physically abusive. One time he cracked me in the back of my head, and I just fell forward, and I didn't even catch myself because I was stunned. And he used to just walk by and hit me, or he would just walk by and kick the back of my knee out from under me. So when I became pregnant, I was, completely at this crossroads of oh my God, what do I do? It wasn't a very long procedure. It was less than, I think it was 2 minutes or something, very, very close to that. And so they're you're gonna feel intense pain about this time, and then, we'll be done. And you're gonna hear a lot of, noises, so don't get scared. And I'm terrified. And this male nurse was right next to me, and he saw that I was obviously terrified. And so he was you can hold my hand if you want to. Don't feel bad about squeezing it. Don't, you just go ahead and just squeeze it as hard as you can, because I know it hurts. Just go ahead. And I checked his hand for a ring because I didn't want to cut his hand on the ring from squeezing it. And I noticed he did have a wedding ring. And, I was just how awesome that some girl has that guy to be her husband. And I was just, because he was such an amazing support for me in that 1 minute. And it was he probably doesn't remember me. And, I'm just one of the countless girls that got abortions at that time. And he'll never know how, in a place where I had no support and nobody, that just by him taking my hand and saying, just go ahead, it's okay for you to have, to need to squeeze somebody's hand. So after about a week, it was, I was supposed to get over it. I wasn't supposed to cry about it anymore. I wasn't supposed to think about it. I wasn't supposed to talk about it. And it was very, very lonely because I had nobody to tell
There. Open.
Had it been anything other than the diagnosis that we got, there's no doubt in my mind that we would have kept him and dealt with it and, you know, got through those challenges. But being a diagnosis that couldn't be fixed was the tough part. Everything from right above his eyes and ears, the skull didn't develop. For some reason, it's a neural tube defect, and at that point, we sort of had the option to terminate or to continue. I reached out to our lead pastor, and we sort of explained to him, like, we're struggling with what to do. That's not a choice that I ever wanted to make, ever thought I would have to make. I wouldn't want anybody to have to choose something like that. But he said, you know, I completely agree with your decision, and I completely support it and understand it. And he came up to the hospital, he prayed over us, he was amazing. Had they not been supportive, it wouldn't have changed my decision, but I'm glad that they did. He's coming, just wait.
You know, we're both Christians, we both go to church, we believe in God, and so I think that was that was really tough. Feeling like your decision was okay, even though even though it's your decision to make, you know, you just don't know if it's right.
I mean, so many people have come up to me and said, you know, I miscarried, I had to do a similar thing. I had to, you know, we've had friends that have had ectopic pregnancies, and, you know, we're very quiet about it, and that's fine. But knowing that you're not alone is, I think, probably the most important thing, or the most important reason why we choose to share what happened.
Yeah.
The angel of the book of life wrote down my baby's birth, then closed the book as she whispered, "Too beautiful for earth."
Addressing diverse issues that touch the hearts of many, Susan has been interviewed on television programs in the United States and Africa, has been featured as a keynote speaker at a variety of fundraising banquets, has testified on behalf of legislation, and has served as a missionary in Africa and South America. Please welcome Susan Jaramillo.
I think, wow, who is she talking about?
We have so much to celebrate this year. I'd like to thank all the pro-life state legislators who continue to work together in hopes that Missouri will be the first abortion-free state in the nation. And this fall, we had an amazing victory in the Missouri State Capitol, and the enemy was silenced from above. So glory to God for the 72-hour wait period. I was pregnant, not knowing what to do, who to turn to. I called an abortion clinic out of state, and they said, it's gonna be okay. Just get to us. And when you get in here, we're gonna help you. I was told, you can go on with your life. You can go back to college, and you can be doing the things that you've always done. You'll be fine. And that's what I did. And I gathered myself, and I took myself back to school. And I went back and acted like nothing had ever happened, not telling one person. Going back to the life that I thought was so cool. But I was hurting, I was broken, I was filled with shame and guilt. I'm telling you, people, it just covers you automatically. When you go through this procedure, it just happens. And I know there's not one person out there that doesn't feel it. I don't care what anybody says. It's automatic. I don't know how many people come up to me after I'm speaking and they're like, I can't believe you're telling people you had an abortion, and I can't believe you're telling them that you had 3. You know, my third abortion was in a place where that particular guy, you know, he was interested in a relationship and interested in that child, meaning, you know, having that child together. And I had just moved to Dallas. I was about my career, and it didn't, quote, fit into my plan of what I thought my plan was at that moment. I never imagined that I would ever tell anyone any of this, because that was my secret.
They're slaughtering their contest. How many babies we killed today? I wonder, does Dr. Shaw have a contest?
Go ahead.
Well, what if a woman gets raped? Do you know that 97% based on Gunamon's standards, based on their so-called population or data gathering, 97% of victims of rape or incest?
She should interview him and ask him what he feels, huh? He's a man. It doesn't matter what he feels. Oof. I wish I could have bored him.
African Americans used to be the #1 minority.
I'm not from Africa, so.
But because of abortion, now they're #2.
So what?
So what?
You talking nonsense?
Well, you see your whole.
Are you gonna take care of these babies? Take your own stuff home. You're not gonna take care of no babies.
You see.
Go to the public aid office and tell them to quit having babies. You worried about somebody else's business. It's not your. Exactly. That's what I said. So what?
That's what Nazi
So what?
They said.
So what?
But we have to understand there's something wrong with our heart.
He got kids. He's here almost every day. So what? You know, what are you doing? It doesn't even make sense. They have more time to be here, worried about somebody else's business, but they don't be at home taking care of home. They here almost all day. It's just ridiculous.
People say, well, God knows my heart. And the book of Jeremiah says, yes, God does know our heart.
Okay.
No, don't go back.
I've done it. My son was 6 months, and I'm sitting, because I don't even like to see women that's pregnant, one on their hip, and you pushing one. Like, did you ever think? So I had to. I couldn't do it. I wasn't gonna stress myself out, be on public aid, and all. I wasn't gonna do it. I said, well, that's what y'all need to be protesting. Those people that's constantly having kids and not doing nothing. You're protesting the wrong thing.
Do you ever tell them?
Oh, yeah, I tell them. You're not the only one that had it. So.
You know, I've been doing this for 30 years, and somebody said to me one time, you know, something about killing babies. And I said, I don't look at it that way. I look at it helping a young woman get on with her life. I said, you know, back when I was in nursing school 40 years ago, they wouldn't let you finish school if you were pregnant. And I got pregnant. My own fault, because I forgot to take a couple pills. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I had, 4 months of school left. And I talked to one of my instructors, And she was a young woman and real cool. She said, have you ever thought about having an abortion? I said, I can't go to New York. Because back then, that was the only place I knew where you could go. She said, oh no, a place opened in Granite about a year or two ago. And she said, call there. At the time, I was making $1.10 an hour, working in a nursing home, taking care of older people, which I loved, but you know, $1.10 an hour. Then when I graduated from nursing school, my first job was $3.85, and I thought I was rich. And I don't ever regret that because I've been a nurse 40 years now. You know, that's my life. That, my grandkids. Okay, well, that looks a little nicer, doesn't it?
Rashida H.
Hope Clinic for Women. Can I help you?
Okay, relax that arm for me. And then get a seat over your hand for the finger stick.
The partner that I had in this situation, I was with for about 6 months. And 2 days before I found out I was pregnant, he told me he was married. So just dealing with that and having to come up with the funds on my own. The last couple weeks, I've been in the hospital, bed rest, and I'm the only one to care for my daughter, my younger daughter, so it's just me and her. So at this point, this is something that has to happen for me.
And is there a reason why you aren't doing this in Missouri?
It's a 72-hour waiting period, and with my illness, I get sick all day, every day, all throughout the day. It's not a time that I don't throw up. And waiting that 72-hour period is just, in the working woman's life, is just too long. Right now, my daughter's at school, so I have like maybe a 12-hour window to be down and not show her. So I'll probably be done here within the next couple hours, and I'll have like an hour and a half, 2 hours to lay down, rest, and get her, and get back up and be Wonder Mom. Yeah.
We just cover our machinery here, mostly for patient comfort, so that they're not frightened by anything that they see that may look really foreign to them, so that they don't get scared by all the medical equipment.
So I'm about 31 weeks pregnant, due in the end of January. So yeah, I know it'd probably be obvious on camera, right? Yeah.
How are you feeling about it?
Good, great, yeah.
Are you ready for motherhood?
That's a great question. Yes, definitely. I don't know if anyone's actually ever ready. Nice big deep breath. Good. Good, that's perfect. Excellent. And a nice big one.
You know, once I get home, gotta get back to laundry and get my baby and prepare for tomorrow. And so this not gonna get me down and in the bed and feeling gloomy. My daughter's birthday is tomorrow. I have an off day today, and I'll relax and rest, and we go to American Girl tomorrow for my baby, her birthday bash, and then Sunday back to reality.
When patients come in, they get options counseling. Are they sure that they want to go through with the procedure, or they want other options for their pregnancy? So they do all that, and then they come down here and wait for their actual procedure in here. And we have this journal, which is really amazing, where they can just write in the journal. This is actually very full, just whatever they want to write. And then sometimes, especially on days when I'm really tired or stressed out, or I feel like we wonder why we're here, if you just sit here and read all these beautiful things that people have written over the last year or so, it's really nice. It will be okay, I swear, don't be scared. With a little heart here. I'm doing this for me, my man, and my son. In this economy, we simply can't afford another child. I pray that God will forgive me. He is a loving God. I know He loves me, and He loves you too. My heart is broken. I wish my son was healthy. This is a cruel world, and I don't have the heart to let you suffer here. Go be with God. Your body will be complete and healthy in heaven. Mommy will see you soon. I'm getting an abortion because I have HIV/AIDS. Don't want a kid to be sick because of me. So I hate myself and my boyfriend for exposing me. School is my #1 priority to ensure that I will never have to rely on others. One day again, God will offer me this opportunity to start a family, and I will be physically, emotionally, and financially prepared.
I have one child already, and I don't really want any more children. And he feels the same.
I'm a single mother. I have 2 that's in college, and I have 2 that's in primary school, a 6- and 7-year-old. And I just cannot financially do it. For me and my children in my life, this is the best decision for us.
In my heart, I know it's the right choice. If you want to have a baby, you should know that you can afford to have a baby. You can provide a good life for them, and you're ready to be a mom. But right now, I'm not ready yet.
My son's father, he was going to beat the baby on me anyways. I'm embarrassed to say it, because I'm always the female that gets other females away from that.
Sometimes I guess you feel, everyone's job makes them tired. Our job especially sometimes because of all the restrictions, and you walk through protesters. When you walk in, they tell you how bad you are and how horrible you are, and then you read this and you feel much better, much more passionate about what you're doing.
I had the rest of the pill, I can't remember the name right now, the Misotrex or whatever it is. And so after I took that, it started within an hour. And this morning I woke up feeling a lot better. There is a 5% chance that this won't work, and that I'll have to go back in for a surgical procedure if the pregnancy for some reason did not terminate, which I'll find out. We'll find out in 3 weeks when I go back for my follow-up. I know my mom would be really upset if she knew I was doing this. I have another friend that's very religious, and she told me that I would come through this very strong, and that maybe God put me there for a reason. So maybe this is, maybe Mom could look at it that way.
Oh, what year are you in school, Alexa? I forgot to ask.
I just finished my sophomore year, so I'll be a junior.
Good.
That's awesome. You're young. That's good. You can stay with us forever.
No, I actually want to hear more about what SFLA is.
So Students for Life of America, we have over 900 groups on college, high schools.
Cool.
And we equip you guys on how to, spread the truth to abortion on your campus, promote the alternatives, work with the local pregnancy center.
Awesome.
Well, it's nice talking to you.
You too.
I don't have a personal experience with abortion. I never met anybody who had an abortion until I was involved in the movement. As a young age, I was exposed to it. My dad was a political science professor at the Air Force Academy, and he had like a diagram of a partial birth abortion, because I think it was around that time where they were outlawing it or putting a ban on partial birth abortion. And so I saw that at the age of like maybe 3rd grade at the time. That was obviously really traumatic, and that kind of followed me. There's a stigma of pro-lifers as all old, men or women that are just singing the rosary outside of Planned Parenthood or holding up graphic images and crazy, yelling at people, you're gonna go to hell, which that happens, and it's horrible. I mean, that does happen. It's becoming more rare now that people are being educated on what actually works, like to help save women and children.
I'm gonna grab a sandwich on the way out, so I will see you. Bye.
Would you like some more information? More information?
Would you like some more information?
This is so scary. Just relax. You did so good. Thank you.
Did you see that anything about the county drug test?
More info on Planned Parenthood?
Ask about mental and sexual health resources both on and off campus. Learn about pregnancy prevention and pregnancy options.
So this thing that you're talking about, this revenue that Planned Parenthood makes, it's a nonprofit. This money goes to women who can't afford health care.
These are for abortions that I'm talking about. I'm focusing on abortions.
Have you been telling people in the student center that the Planned Parenthood in Columbia, Missouri does not do abortions?
I would be more than happy.
They can't.
I've been praying outside of that Planned Parenthood for 4 years.
I know, I've seen you. I escort women in to check out their yeast infections, to check out their urinary tract infections. I escort women in to do regular health checkups with nurse practitioners because they can't afford to go to student
And they're
health.
referring to St. Louis Planned Parenthood. They're still referring them.
What are you going to do about all the women that need abortions?
All the women who need abortions? Why would you need abortions?
Let's talk about women who can't afford to have a baby. Let's talk about women who don't know about contraception because they haven't been able to get an education on it because Planned Parenthood's been so limited by your organization.
We don't do this every day. This is just one day out of the year.
I know.
The other days of the year, we're focusing on, spreading awareness on adoption, spreading awareness on where you can get help if you're pregnant.
Look, there's a lot of babies on this earth that aren't getting adopted because they're not the perfect angel-faced babies that you want to adopt.
But they're not eligible for adoption. A lot of those parents have to prove that they're ready to be parents
again. Why aren't you making it easier for them to get eligible for adoption then?
We can't.
Focus on the babies that are already
here. It's the government.
Okay?
The parents. There's 250,000 families in America that are waiting for an adoption list.
But
they're waiting.
Not a baby from Detroit, not a baby from inner city St. Louis, not a baby from a poor family that can't afford for health care, not from a baby that has mental health issues.
Okay, then that's a whole nother issue.
That's a whole nother issue.
You're bringing up circumstances to justify your stance.
Circumstances are crucial. Circumstances are key. Planned Parenthood is here for all of those circumstances. Why are you protesting this organization when you're just talking about one thing that it does?
I'm 17, and I'm having a little girl. She wasn't supposed to be here till I was like 30, because I was going to be done with medical school around that time, and I would have been financially where I wanted to be. I would have been stable. My mom had my sister, she got pregnant at 15 and had her at 16. So people were comparing me to my mom, which it hurt, and it was, you know, it hurt a lot. Everybody kept bringing up options, but I chose to keep her.
What channel y'all with? 16 and don't be ignorant.
My mom died when I was 8. That's why I most of the time feel like I need her, and she's the only person that I want to talk to or want to be with. So I just probably talk to her about what I should do. I never thought I'd end up in this situation. I don't like how it really turned out.
I was a real bad drug addict for a real long time. And when I got pregnant, I thought, oh my God. You know, everyone's gonna think, well, you can't take care of the kid you have now. Why would you go and have another one? No one ever thinks, oh, one day I'm gonna get pregnant and I'm gonna give my child up for adoption. And nobody really knows anything about it because no one ever talks about it.
I had to distance myself because if I got too close, I wouldn't have been able to let her do that, what she wanted to do, because I wouldn't have been able to let go. But so I couldn't be there for the birth for her. I just had to keep that wall up.
This was 2 days before I had her. So I was very pregnant. Mark, the father, he didn't want to do it.
I haven't met anybody else that's done this. I can't even think of anybody that's ever done it. Some people can take it, others can't really. I mean, it's not easy at all. It pretty much destroyed us.
It wasn't the right time.
I know. Could have made it work though.
Made it work out, like how we...
The abortion, it might have been a lot easier. You wouldn't have had to live with it every day.
I was raised that if you have an abortion, you will not go to heaven. And I would have to live with that for the rest of my life.
I was working 2 jobs. I was working at Denny's and Pizza Hut and going to school, playing basketball and everything. I also had just got accepted in Kentucky State University on a basketball scholarship. So I was on my way away from here. I gave my 2 weeks notices for both jobs. And I also put my 30-day notice in for my apartment. So everything was completely out of the way. And I was just packing up to leave. And got pregnant, so.
You just got accepted on a basketball scholarship.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. Now it's depressing. I talked to the Kentucky State coach. I told her, I was pregnant and all, and she said I could apply again the next time, but that's like 2 years from now, and it'll be like, just kind of let it go. So I was going through the adoption process the whole time. I got in contact with an agency and everything, picked out a couple, but, the dad, he didn't agree, so. The agency said he could later challenge the adoption, so they didn't want to, put anybody through that. And I was like, how is it that you don't want her, but you are forcing me to keep her? I'd hate to say, but if I could have went back, I wouldn't have even went through it at all. I probably wouldn't have contacted him or nothing. I probably would have just, probably had an abortion and just been on my way.
I'm neither pro-choice or pro-life. These labels things were so stuck. Abortion wasn't an option for me because it's not the choice for me. And I think it is, we are individuals, we are people, we have to make those choices for ourselves.
To be honest with you, I've actually had one in the past. Actually, it was after I had her, and I'm sorry, I hate myself for doing it, but there's nothing I can do to change that now, but there's something I can do for the future, and hopefully to prevent, other babies from, the same fate that I put that one through, so.
I wasn't healthy enough. And there was nobody that was going to help pick up those pieces for me. So I had to do what I had to do to survive, to get by.
I just look back on it and I think, well, if I had had that baby and gotten married, we would have ended up getting divorced and I would have been a single mom and I never would have moved here and met my husband and have the 2 kids that I have. Well, I think about it that way. I look at my kids who are wonderful and they wouldn't be here.
You gotta know, I didn't think God loved me anymore after I did that first one. And especially after the second one. How could he ever love me again for what I did?
I was working one part-time job, unable to pay rent for myself. Having unprotected sex was one of the worst decisions I've ever made in my life. And getting an abortion was one of the best.
I didn't have a real good set course in life. I was really drifting. That was not a life to bring a baby into. And honestly, if I'd had a child with that man, I'd have killed myself. I averted a disaster by having that abortion.
Hi, how are you today? My name is Kathy, and we're telling people about resources in the area. Can we talk to you for a minute? We're here to offer help. If you need anything, we're out here. We'll be here when you come out, okay? God bless you.
My mother passed away like 25 years ago, and I went to see my dad. He was saying that my mother would be really proud of me. And then he said, you know, Kathy, you were almost aborted, but we had you. I didn't know why I felt this kinship with the baby in the womb. But when my dad told me that story, I realized I was in that place where that little baby was, going into a place where you should be safe and receive medical care, and someone wanted to kill you. And those young women, my own mother was in that position. So I understand.
I started collecting Barbies when I was like 12. And my parents, I really had a thing for Monet. So they got me the Impressionist series. I just leave them out because they're fun to look at for me anyway. I know they're kind of juvenile, but I've still got like a giant collection of Barbies at my parents' house that are unopened in their boxes. My daughter always wants to play with them. I'm like, no, absolutely not. So, yeah, I've always had a thing for the water lilies. That's my daughter. That's my ex. And that's my son. Yeah, I just need to call and check on my appointment time tomorrow. Yeah. 10:30. Okay, thank you. All right, bye.
How long has it been now?
3 weeks. Emotionally, it's been kind of rough, but it comes and goes.
What do you think that's about?
I don't know, because I know I made the right decision, and I haven't once regretted my decision, and life is better in a certain way, but I don't know, I've spent like the greater part of this year like really working on my self-esteem. So just being in a situation like that, I think just kind of knocked me down a peg, you know?
Tomorrow, who is your driver?
I don't have one.
And if you have broken God's law, you're guilty. You're guilty, and there's a penalty to pay. Dads and moms,
show you how to cut off the arms and the legs of these babies, crush their skull and twist it and turn it, take the suction device and suck them out. You see the person, the nurses, they let you see that, how they have to line up all the body parts, fingers, toes. They let you see that. They let you see the ultrasound. See, when they say it's not really a baby, they're lying, and they know they're lying. They got the ultrasound, they got the sonogram. So if they know it's a baby, then it means it's conscientious murder. Did you know that if someone's involved in an auto accident and the person is pregnant, that they open up 2 suffixes, one for the mother and one for their preborn child, and they keep that claim open until that child is 21 days. Did you know that? Did you know that in California, and I believe in every state, that if a man happens to kill a woman with a child, he's charged with a double homicide? God's about to destroy America. Do you understand that? If we don't repent and repent very quickly, God is going to destroy America.
Ma'am, do not go in there. Ma'am, there is murder in there. Save the life of your baby. Abortion does not stop making you a dad. It makes you a dad of a dead baby. Sir, you are guilty. You're accountable before God. And your conscience knows it. And you feel guilty. You feel conscience-stricken. Sir, be a man. Be a man and don't kill your baby.
I'm just not ready to be a mom yet. I don't want people to look at me differently because of my decision, so I haven't really told anyone. I think about my grandma, what she would think. It's the main person. And my little cousins, they look up to me. Like, it's hard enough that I'm making this decision. Then you have people just making you seem like the worst person in the world. Try not to let it get me down. I'm a strong person. I just want to graduate high school and then go to college. And I want to become a sports physical therapist.
The Southern Baptists aren't real supportive of what I do. I haven't heard from my folks in probably over like 5 or 6 years. So, black sheep. But it's given me time to really consider how I want my daughters to be raised and how important it is for them to be able to make their own decisions, and supporting them and kind of figuring out their own path in life. I myself have never had an abortion. I was raped when I was 17 years old, and I was terrified of what was going to happen if I conceived. And I mean, there was several weeks of just, on top of the trauma and on top of not being able to tell anyone in my life, no one in my family, sitting there and just absolutely panicking, knowing that there was absolutely no way that my family would be supportive of me getting an abortion, and also knowing 100% there was no way that I could carry to term, the products of that assault.
We have patients all the time who, when they come here because they need us, say to me, I had no idea this was so hard. I had no idea these laws applied to me. I had no idea I had to drive from Kansas, Indiana, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Iowa, wherever they're driving from. I had no idea until I needed this, whether it was because of a social problem or because their baby has a problem or because they have a problem, whatever the reason is, they had no idea that option wasn't there for them. 1 in 3 women will get abortion, same numbers, but 1 in 3 women will get a C-section. C-sections are easily accessible. You can go to a hospital, if you need it, then it's there. Whereas abortion is kind of getting pushed aside, separated, parceled out, attacked, and you're just not able to access that as well anymore. And it's going to become very, very dangerous for women to try to even think about making choices for their own health care. People are going to die. They're going to get really sick trying to access abortions, and it's getting harder and harder. And I don't see a path where it's going to get any better anytime soon.
Planned Parenthood has got to go! Planned Parenthood has got to go! Planned Parenthood has got to go! Thank you for coming from all over the state of Missouri to be here. My name is Kathy Ford. Welcome to God's Sidewalk, where we have been praying since February 2008. Praise God, to Him be all the honor and glory. Jesus Christ, praise Him. Thank you again for coming out today. I feel like I am at the gates of hell, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against the church. Amen? Amen.
I'm just of the view that nobody should have a child they don't want. That's really my bottom line. I've been an occupational therapist and a social worker, and it was more when I was an occupational therapist that I worked in a community mental health center and saw some pretty rough things. And so I don't take it lightly. I just think that people should not go through with something they don't want.
Thank you for the pregnancy centers. We thank you for those that stand on the front line.
The words from our hearts as we end this right now, and this scourge of abortion in Colombia.
I can't believe that I'm a citizen of a country that says it's okay to kill a baby. To kill a baby is okay. No, it's not. It's not okay. I don't care how legal you say it is not okay to kill a baby. And it is not okay what it does to that woman who has to live with that the rest of her life. It is not okay. And until I die, I will do everything I can to change this in my country.
People come from everywhere. I see so many people. I have teenagers coming in here. That scared me because my son is 16 and I'm like,
What about your daughter?
She getting her tubes tied tomorrow. No, she, I don't know. I already have to talk about the menstrual thingy, and I'm really not ready for that. Because they start at 10 nowadays. So I started talking to her about it. She said, I don't want to be grown then. I don't want to grow up. I was like, Tay, every woman has one. I don't want to be no woman normal. Okay, baby. I don't know what to tell you.
I guess they think we don't believe in God or anything like that, you know? That kind of bothers me when they do that, because I think they think that we don't care about God. But we're no different than anybody else. We believe in a higher power somewhere. Yeah, Jesus loves me. I'm glad he does. Tried to do right, whatever that may be. But that song they were singing earlier about he's got the whole world in his hands, that's one of my favorites. I better get in and get to work.
Are you done? I'm sorry about that, dear. Okay, sweetie. You can go ahead and have a seat back in that small waiting room, and they'll be in shortly, okay? Hi. Oh, she's ready for you. You can go ahead and have a seat. Okay. Okay, so you are here for your follow-up. Okay. And I'd already asked you once before, is this pretty much what you figured it would be?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a lot of bleeding, cramping, clotting?
I didn't really have much clotting. I did have a lot of bleeding and cramping.
Did you?
I clotted the first day, but after that it was... But, I'm still spotting a little bit from time to time. Is that normal?
Yeah, that's normal.
Okay.
You have some bleeding on and off all the way up to the first menstrual period.
Okay.
We can't tell patients' blood pressure exactly how much bleeding and cramping, clotting they're going to have. Everybody is so different. But what I look for when you come back is called an endometrium line, okay? That shows me your uterus is empty and back down to the size it was before you became pregnant.
Okay.
That's exactly what I'm seeing.
Thank God.
All right, you can go ahead and wipe that off and sit on that crib, sweetie. All right.
Thank God.
Bless baby Jesus, huh?
Yeah.
How you feel?
Good. Relieved.
Yeah.
Yeah. Time to get back to normal life. It's good. Maybe focus on some happy things instead of just being on survive mode right now. So I'm ready for that.
Michaela, G.
Yeah.
So as soon as that gets full, that means I don't have any more.
Yeah, that don't mean you have any more memory on the
So I
phone.
need to buy, I would need to. Now, you asked me about nursing, I could tell you. Did you ask me about electronics? Yeah, I'm about as dumb as rocks. Huh?
You asked it to Beyonce, didn't you?
Did I?
Tell her, Beyonce.
Nobody here makes a lot of money. Nobody can really even talk about what they do. They're here because they want to do the right thing by women in the area.
Thank you, ladies. Have a good weekend.
We'll see y'all. Have a good weekend. Thank you, guys.
Bye, guys.
I don't know what the future holds as far as our clinic. I know that clinics all over the nation are, the independent ones that aren't affiliated with the teaching university or with the Planned Parenthood are really struggling to stay open. And I've known a lot of clinics that have closed over the last several years. Being an independent clinic, you're kind of out there on your own. You don't have all this massive amount of funding coming in from other sources. So, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it'll stay open, and hopefully we'll be able to continue providing services.
People telling their stories is so important because we keep those things locked inside of ourselves and they kill us.
I was in that situation. I know that I chose the other way, but I'm here to help others.
I'm not here just to take a life. I'm here to save my life,
Just make the best decision that you think you're gonna make and do what you think is right.
It's your choice. I let them know it's their choice. Everything is your decision. God loves everybody.